Hello guys, welcome to today's lesson. Today we are going to talk about React hooks, more precisely useState hook and useEffect hook. We are going to use json-server. I highly recommend it if you want to practice doing HTTP request methods, and it's really simple to use. We will transform a class component, the logic from a class component to a functional component using React hooks. So let's start the server. We have a JSON file and some data in it, and we will use json-server, watch the file db.json, and move the port to 3001 because React already uses 3000. And now we have the server and the data on this URL. So inside the class component we have a dogs array. Inside the state we have a component didMount, which will call when the component initializes. Component will unmount, which will be activated when the component is destroyed. So we can use this to clear timers or prevent memory leak. We have the getDogs method function. We are going to use Axios to make the HTTP requests. We are going to make a get on this URL, and after the response we are going to make a setState with the dogs array having the response from the server. After that we are going to destructure dogs from the state, and we are going to make a ternary. If the array dogs has length, we will iterate through it and put the data on a dog component, which will show the name of the dog. This dog will get the key, the index of the dog, and the dog itself. If the dog array doesn't have length, we will use a loader, which we imported from Material UI, which I highly recommend it. It's easy to use and they have really nice components. Okay, and now we need to create the functional component. I'm using an extension, it's called VS Code React Component Generator. It helps me generate components really fast. And to generate it, you can generate a class component with Redux, a functional component, and a functional component with Redux. So we put the name doglist, and it generates the functional component really fast. Okay, so we need to make, for example, we have the dogs array, and use the setter, set dogs. This will use useState, and the value would be an empty array. So we now have the dogs array and the setter. It's the set dogs, it's equivalent to the set state, but it will be for the dogs array. And now we will use the useEffect. The useEffect hook, it's equivalent to the component didMount, but you can also change it to a component will update. So when the component initializes, it will call what's inside useEffect. For example, useEffect init. We need to put the dog list, the container, and now we have the useEffect init console log and the component initialized. Okay, and if we use it like this, it will initialize only once. But if we're gonna use if we're gonna set state or set dogs or the dogs array, each time the dogs variable, the dogs array will change, it will activate the useEffect. For now we want only to initialize once. And now we're gonna make the getDogs method, equals to function. We are gonna import Axios. And we're gonna make an API call. HTTP and then we have the response as a parameter, and we are gonna use the setDogs method with response data. I'm gonna console log it. And we need to use getDogs inside useEffect. And now we have the response, the 3 dogs we have from the server. If we see in the network. And now our dogs array is populated. So we need to use, I'm gonna use a ternary. If dogs have length, then dogs need to map dog map will have the dog and the index, and we need to insert the index inside the key, and we need to send the dog inside the dog component. Okay, if not, circular progress. And now we have the dogs iterated. Okay, for example, we want to change the selected value. We want to mutate the dog and they should have a state, for example, selected. We need to update the dog object. So let's do a update dog method, which gets the new updated dog as a parameter and mutates it. New update dog dot selected equals new update dog dot selected not. So it will toggle. Now let's console log the new update dog. This method we need to send it inside the dog component as a prop, two props. Update dog equals update dog method. Okay, now we need to go inside the dog component and we will have it inside the props. So for example, let's have flex. Let's use this method here. On click, gonna have a function which will update the dog props, update dog, and the dog we have from the props.dog. Okay. So now if we click on an object, it will mutate the object. Selected true, selected false, true false. And now we need to re-render it. For example, we will have selected if float.dog selected. If it's true, we'll show selected. If not, not selected. But now we need to re-render. They are not selected, so it's not working at the moment. We need to re-render from the top component, from the list, from the dog list. So we are gonna go through each dog as a parameter, and if dog ID equals to the dog we mutated, then dog equals to new update dog. I'm gonna console log it. There are more ways to do this, but this one is the one that I like personally. And now we have the array changed, the object inside it. And we need to re-render it, so we're going to use set dogs, and we're going to send a new array, and then we're going to use spread the dogs, so React knows that it's a new array, and it will know it that we need to re-render. Now the array, the component re-rendered. Okay, if we want to use, for example, component will unmount, we need to send from inside the useEffect another function. We need to return the function from inside useEffect. So log component destroyed. Okay, now if we go to home, component destroyed. So this is the equivalent of component will unmount. Also, if we want to watch the values from inside dog list, the dogs array, for example, we can use another useEffect. This is useful, for example, filters. And we will need to watch the variable. You can put any variables here, any variable. We have, for now we have dogs, so I will move the console log from the update dog method to the useEffect, and now it will watch the dogs array each time it changes. This one it's from inside useEffect. So that would be it for this video. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.